a really good win for Rangers at Rugby Park on Saturday night. And all of a sudden, looking at the comment section, there's a newfound optimism, and Rangers fans seem to be getting really excited. I mean, Fred says Rangers are getting better and only have been beaten once in the league so far. Derek says Rangers, they should sign Gogic, McKenna, Porteous and get Kenny McLennan. Ali simply says the title is Rangers. And Derek again says Rangers by no means out of this. Look, I get that in one hand it's been a disastrous start to the season for Rangers. But on the flip side, if they go to Tynecastle and win on the 21st, all of a sudden we've got a three-way title race, I'd say.
First of all, how bad were the questions at that press conference? Who was asking you that? That wasn't Newport, was it?
I thought they were great.
No, look, I mean, we're saying about Hearts having 2 or 3 vital games coming up, Falkirk, Rangers and Hibs. I think you can say the exact same about Rangers, Daniel. I think we'll know after this, this kind of glut of games Rangers have over Christmas whether they're serious title contenders. Danny Rohl's record's good. There's no getting away for that. 7 league games, 5 wins compared to where they were before he came in. He's definitely improved them. He's made them, they're more structured, more organised, more difficult to score against. Obviously, they've brought the set piece coach in. I know I think they've only scored for 1 set piece, but they look a bit stronger defending set pieces. I would suggest don't look as susceptible to losing goals, which is important. Majowski scoring again is obviously a boost for them. And even with him, I think Danny Rohl's made a difference. It was interesting listening to Majowski talking about the kind of the pep talk he's had with the manager after a kind of poor run for him. And I think a couple of things that would have come out of that, Majowski touched on one of them himself, rhythm, playing games every week, starting every week. I think he makes a really good point there, and probably something that you forget and don't really consider when you're maybe having a go at strikers, is that he's came out a season last year with Girona, hardly playing, in and out, playing a couple of games, out for a few games, really difficult. Comes into Rangers and it's the same at the start of this season. Really, no getting a proper run. Different managers going with 1 week Shamite, one week Majowski. I think that's difficult for strikers, and I think it's probably, I know Shamiti's obviously the £8 million man that everybody talks about, but it's probably a wise move for Danny Rohl almost just to stick with Majowski. Now, I said this a few weeks ago, you almost had to just stick with somebody up front and say, you're going to start the next 6 games. Mm-hmm. Just try and get them into that rhythm. And that's the first thing. The other thing I think about Majowski is, and it's quite ironic because a lot of people have said this season he's not been as effective as he was at Aberdeen because he had a lot more space to run in behind at Aberdeen, and he's not getting that at Rangers. I actually think his game's improved in the last wee while because he's dropped deep. And I think Danny Rohl mentioned it the other day. There was a few games with Majowski where he was staying on the last line, the opposition defences, because that's what people see him as. A guy that stays in the last man, ready for that ball in behind. But for some of the Rangers games, he was completely anonymous. He just wasn't involved in the game. The Falkirk home game being a prime example of that.
Aye.
Whereas watch him against Dundee, there's a marked difference in the last couple of games. Dundee United and Kilmarnock. I know he didn't score at Tannadice, but he's dropping deeper, getting involved in the game. His link-up play's been better. It's been cleaner. And I think within himself, he feels more involved in terms of the build-up. But he's still managing to get himself into the box. And his 2 finishes at Kilmarnock the other night were excellent. Reminiscent of the goals he was scoring at Aberdeen. The first one, really instinctive, that kind of toe bash in amongst a group of players. Probably he's the only guy thinking about that finish in the box. And then the second one again, really clever, peels off, gives the goalkeeper the eyes and goes in the other side. Really, really clinical. So that's been a major boost for Rangers. In terms of the title race, I wouldn't be getting carried away just yet. I think they've still got a long way to go. I think we agree there has to be major additions in January, as well as maybe players going out. But I think if Rangers can just keep in touch at the top, keep in touch with Celtic and Hearts, I would suggest within 6 points, which I think they are now. I think that's basically the difference between them just now. If they're still within 6 points when they get to the window and make additions, then I think you can say Rangers are in it. Assuming, and if they're within 6 points, then this will be right. Assuming that they get some good results over the festive period. When you look at those fixtures, they're really difficult.
Mm.
You mentioned it the other night. I mean, Hibs at home, Hearts away,
Celtic away in the third.
Motherwell are really in form at Ibrox, which is no gimme these days. Then get a double header in January against Aberdeen, twice in 4 days. Ibrox and Pittodrie. Aberdeen who have hit a bit of form again.
4 wins in a row now for them, eh?
Really, really difficult fixture list for Danny Rohl in this squad, which is still pretty limited. As I say, if they're still in the mix, within 6 points when they get to the January window, when they come out of those games, then I think we could have a proper 3-way title race in our hands.
In the comments, James says, finally, not just Miovski getting a double, but scoring goals out of nothing. That's going to be huge if he can keep it up. Ali says Mikey Moore is going to the top. Enjoy him while you can. Blue Nose John says the German efficiency of Rohl and his assistants is starting to come good. Green Machine says Rangers will get better, but it'll be next season as they have too many players who are nowhere near Rangers level.